addicted to? And what did this world do to you? What'll it take to get you through? And how long has this had a hold on you?
Hello. Welcome to another edition of Addicted2 Get Connected. And with me today, we've got my friend, Christy.
Hey, how are you, Sean?
I'm good.
Good.
So, just before the show, we were just talking about how much time you have in, which is
I have 27 years of sobriety.
good for you.
Yeah,
And can we talk about how old you are?
sure. And I'm 43.
You're 43 with 27 years.
Yeah.
So to me, it started on an early age, but you tell me you've got some backstory to that.
I got sober at 15 years old. Again, at that time, not necessarily by choice. My parents made a decision to put me into a rehabilitation program in Calgary, Alberta, that at that time in 1996 or 1997, my custody was actually legally signed over to the treatment center. So I was taken there as being told that I was going to family counseling. I thought that it was just another like ADAC or something like that, some silly program that my parents were trying to where I just figured I'd meet more drug dealers. And because every other program, that's all that ever happened. So I went, and then they took some kid, people that were kind of my age, like a little bit older than me, took me downstairs. And for the first time ever, I was actually honest. And then they told me that my custody had been signed over and I was not leaving. And that was it. There was no conversation. As an addict, I did everything I could think of. So I started to cry and be like, can I please see my parents? I just want to hug them and say goodbye. And I don't understand and whatever. And so they actually let me go back upstairs, and I grabbed my mom and told her that I was going to fucking kill her. And then they grabbed me and dragged me back down the stairs. And next thing I know, I'm being showered and lice treatment thrown on me and put into sweatpants, and then taken upstairs to what was called a wrap, where you would sit and talk about your life and program.
So you were institutionalized.
Pretty much. Yeah, I guess you could say that was, yeah.
And at 15 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine, this was against your will. So how long do you think it took before you found any acceptance? I'm guessing it must have took, it didn't happen.
It did not happen overnight.
No.
I tried to, when I first came upstairs, I threw my shoes at one of the counselors there. He was a 6-foot, huge, he could have killed me with his palm of his hand.
And he laughed at you?
Pretty much, yeah. I threw a chair. But yeah, they took my shoes away. I was considered high risk at first, that I might run or try to escape. I stayed up the first couple nights. Nobody knows. Well, people really close to me know this, but I stayed up pretty late. You would go to a host home, so you'd go home with a family of another member in the program that was at a higher step. So they based it off of steps, basically from the AA program, steps 1 to 4. You were in full time in the program. You stayed with another family. And then from steps 4 all the way to 12, you became a host family. So you would then take newcomers, steps 1 to 3, home with you until they were ready to go home with their families. So it's like a family treatment, right? So the whole family's involved. My parents, my siblings, they all had to be there 3-4 times a week. I was there every day, but they had to be there 3 or 4 times a week as well. And the whole family is learning the program. So everyone is being actively involved in changing themselves. So it's not just like, I'm going to drop my kid off and I'm going to get my kid sober. And then when you fix my kid, you can give me my kid back. It's like, no, because the disease affects everyone. It's not just the addict. It affects, like, for every one alcoholic, there's 16 people affected. So you have to think of like a family. The family dynamics are broken when addiction is present. So no matter what, everyone had to be involved. But when I was in the first couple nights, I went to this one house, and in the closet in the bedroom, there was like a whole bunch of heels. And I would like stay up all night thinking if I just killed them all with the heels, and then I could just run, but I had no idea where I was. I was like, I don't know where I'd go, but I would like figure it out somehow. But that's just how messed up you are as an addict. Like, you think this like 15-year-old little like cute blonde, and she's like imagining killing people just to escape so that she can go get high.
Well, that's an interesting tidbit of information also, because you are an attractive woman, and let's face it, a 15-year-old girl could make it a lot further than a 15-year-old guy, because offers are going to be made.
Yeah.
So how did they know that you wouldn't run? Or if you did, would they issue an arrest warrant? Or?
Yeah, they could.
So that had to be some kind of a deterrent, because even though you're plotting your escape,
yeah,
they're going to grab you and haul you back there, and you're going to be accountable.
Yeah. And every day for 3 months, so technically at that time, my custody was mine again at 16. So I came in November 19th of 1997. My birthday is February 11th. So I knew that for 3 months, that on my birthday, I could technically leave. And so every single day that I came into treatment, I told them, I'm out of here. Like, pardon my language, but I'm the fuck out of here as soon as I turned 16.
And what would your parents have done? But I mean, it doesn't really matter. Along the way.
I don't know that I cared about them at that point. Like, it was sad that I hurt them, but I don't know that I really cared. Like, I cared more about myself than I cared about anything else. And at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're very selfish. You're very wrapped up in yourself. There's really not a lot of like, you're not really thinking about anyone else. You're thinking about what has been like done to you and how quickly you can get out of this. And I think initially it was like, I'm just going to fake it. I'll cry, I'll do whatever, I'll say all the right things. And I think a lot of people go into program like that. I'll do what I have to just to get through it till the heat gets off my back, right? Like,
oh yeah,
let's just say your wife is on you or whatever, right? And so same type of idea. I was just 15. So I just at first I just played the game. And I just was like, I'll just mirror what everyone else is doing. And I'll like pretend that this is really actually affecting me. And, and we're good actors. Like we could all be like Brad Pitts, right?
Oh yeah. Academy Award stuff.
Yeah, so exactly.
But somewhere along the way,
it started to click. And I don't know what it was, but I think that I started to realize, like, when I got there, I thought I was really cool. And I thought that, like, I thought I had my life under control. I knew that really bad things had happened, but at the same time, I was like, I'm fine. My parents are overreacting. This is ridiculous. But then as I was there and started to really listen, all of a sudden I was like, wait, like, I'm failing school. I have no friends. I am like, really, I'm a loser. Like I really was a loser. Everyone that I was attracted to was bad, like really bad. Like most of the people that I spent time with are either dead or in prison. The people that I was hanging out with, like, they're not good people today. They're still terrible, terrible human beings. And I was not around people that were doing good.
Right.
I was not doing well in school. I was getting thrown out of my classes. My teachers didn't even know my name, really, because I was just a pain in the ass. I made it through junior high just because the principal Like, I think he just had a soft spot for me, and he just kind of took me under his wing, and he was like, I'm going to just do whatever I can to get this kid through school. Like, to just keep her alive, basically. And I think that it started to click. Like, I started to see, and also I think too, I saw people my age with like joy and peace, and they were laughing and they looked healthy, and they were going out into the world and they were coming back and they looked like they were alive. Like, they didn't have that darkness. They didn't have that like their soul wasn't dying. And I was like, how come their soul's not dying? Like, what is it? Something happened that is changing them. And I don't understand. And I kind of wanted it. Like, I kind of wanted to kind of know what exactly it was that they were doing, that they didn't have that like darkness that just overtook every part of their soul. Because that's how I felt. I just felt like I was walking, living dead. And I constantly was like, how can I leave this earth? My plan was never to even make my 16th birthday. I'd already tried 3 times to kill myself before I'd even made it to my 16th birthday. And every time I woke up. So it's like the universe had another plan for me. I didn't know it. And so I just kept trying so hard to be like, okay, well, there's something here, but I don't really know if I want it, but I kind of want it, because whatever these people are doing, they seem to be happy, and like real happy. Like, it was like when you were a little kid, and you're like on your bike and you're riding down a hill and your hands just let go of the handlebars.
Yeah.
Like that happy, that feeling of just like nothing. There's nothing like there's no
Freedom.
shame. There's no guilt. There's no pain. There's no trauma. It was just like, and you could like, these people my age, 15, 16, 17, 18, were like alive. Whereas all I knew was drowning. It was constantly always like reaching, trying to survive, holding on, begging for air.
So what I'm thinking is, the longer that you were in there, you started to reach raw emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't really ready for that. And at some point, that's when, and your family's showing up. So then they started to get through.
Yeah.
And then you're wondering, why can't I be out on dates or
Be real.
go and have fun, whatever that looks like, instead of,
how can I learn to not live with this, like, or how can I not have this black hole of pain?
And so you were in there for a year.
I was in there from November 19th, 1997 to I graduated in October of 1998, but my actual grad from there was not till November 6th. So technically, a year.
So your birthday came and went, and you didn't leave.
No, I actually was terminated that day and kicked out of the treatment center.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They packed all my stuff and they told me to get out, and they threw me out on the front steps. And I sat there for like, I don't know, maybe an hour, contemplating what life would look like if I left. And I knew that if I left, I was going back to nothing. I was going back to drugs. I was going back to that dark, empty hole inside of me. I was going back to people who could have cared less if I lived or died. And I think one of the biggest things that they said is like, Christy, if you matter so much, why is no one kicking down the door right now to get you out of here? Like, where are these friends? Where are these people that you say are so important to you? And I think that really hit, because I'd already been there for 3 months. No one was looking for me. Like, as far as I knew, right? No one was like showing up there, banging on the door saying, do you have Christy? Like, let her go or anything like that. And I think it started to click too, that like I had nothing to go back to. I really had nothing. Like I had
Well, your family was showing up.
my family, but what does that mean if I'm not sober though? What does that mean if I go back using? My family had said, and it was a solid line in the sand. If you go back using, we're done.
And
You
at
don't have
that,
a home. You don't have your stuff. You can't come back to our house. We're changing the locks. You're done.
there was an ultimatum. And at that point, your dad was sober.
My dad had been, just over a year sober. My mom had been in Al-Anon for quite a few years by then. And then
So they were
also at that point, my brother
united.
had now come into treatment as well. So my brother signed himself in to the treatment center because he was 21. So he signed himself into the treatment center. So by then now I've got, not only do I have nothing to go back to, but I've also got my whole family's invested in sobriety. My brother's there, willing at his will. He's there. And I'm now there, and my mom and dad are there, and my sisters are there. And my older sister moved back from Edmonton to come and be there as part of our family. So it's like, if I walk out of here, I'm not just letting down me, I'm letting down my whole family.
They were a united front at this point.
Yeah.
And they were not going to put up with, but they wanted to help you because they were showing up.
Today, though, like if you were to ask them today, they actually have no idea that I was terminated that day. The treatment center pulled a Hail Mary.
Is that because you were threatening to leave?
Yeah.
So they said, you want to threaten? And
so then when I came back in the door, I said, I don't want to leave. They sat me down. I had to sign. I still have that piece of paper to this day. I signed a piece of paper that said I would never threaten to leave ever again. And that I would willingly sign in and finish the treatment and stay until I was at step 12 and graduated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at 16 years old, you finally sat down. I think I would have been still F you.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but
I never had the chance to go to treatment. I say had the chance, and some people have good experiences, some don't.
Yeah.
But I'm just blown away that at 16, they got through to you.
Yeah, me too. Because there's not a lot that it works that way. I have a lot of friends who have gone back using. I have a lot of people that have died who I got sober with. And one of my friends went back using and ended up in prison and got brutally injured and was in ARC and stuff. So it's like, not everybody stays sober walking out of that place.
No, the demon's still the wreckage of the past.
And that demon is always there. Like, I can't tell you that I can say I'm 27 years sober today, but I can tell you that voice is always there. That it's just how much power I give it, how much time I allow it to be present, and how loud. But it doesn't just disappear. You don't you don't just say I'm sober now, and it's a daily decision that this is the life I choose to live. Because there's so many opportunities. I was 16. I went out of treatment. I went back to being a kid. I went back to high school. I went to bars. I worked in bars. I was around alcohol consistently all the time. I married somebody who drank. It was there was opportunity galore, but that's just not what I chose to do. But I made a conscious decision that that's not the life I want. Sure, I can drink, but what does that look like? And what does that mean now to my future? What does that mean to at the time of my marriage, my kids, my parents, my siblings? It wasn't just me letting myself down. Ultimately, I'm letting down my whole family and all the people that I love if I choose to go back out. And then what does going back out look like?
So just to touch on something that you were saying, because when I came in, and I'm certainly not saying anything against the program, but I thought, oh, like I got into a relationship the first year too, because I thought this is going to solve all my problems. All I have to, now I know what my problem is. I just have to put down the drinking and the drugs and get my head screwed on straight and start doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and everything's going to be great. And I'm going to be happy. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
So, like I said, it's the repeated pattern is it's a good head start to clear your head, but now you're faced with dealing with it, whatever those traumas or scars are, and now it's raw. And I think the underlying message is you've got to get down to the bottom of those issues. And like you say, here you are 27 years later, and you're looking good, but those scars could still be there and they can still rear up. I had a friend of mine come on, and he told me after 20 years of sobriety, only the last 3 did he recount an incident where he was 10 and he lost his 16-year-old sister in a fire. And so it came back 17 years later in sobriety to haunt him. And I said, you never thought? And he said, it never came up, but all of a sudden it did. So I just wanted to, put that out there because, you've got 27 years. And so what do you do to quell that?
I think what I've learned to do is feel and be okay with emotion and know that emotion is my body speaking to me to teach me that I don't need to be numb and run and hide and change who I am, that it's okay to just be where I am at this point. Also, like spiritual connection to something greater than myself. I know the program says like God of your understanding. For me, it's like I call it the creator, the universe. Like the universe is to me, the ocean, nature, peace. Like that is something far greater than me, and I choose to put that energy out into the world instead of constantly trying to shove it down. Because the truth is, like, no matter how far you shove it, it's coming. You're never going to stay down there, no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter. You can use until you die. But now you're dead. Like, you've killed yourself instead. But you've killed yourself over that pain, trauma. Like, you've shoved it. You keep trying to shove it. But the thing is, like, the more you try to shove it, the stronger it gets, the more powerful it gets. And so it's like, I had to really learn that, like, it's okay to feel this stuff. And even though it like dropped me to my knees, it's okay. Like, I will survive. I will make it through this pain. And like, if I can, every time you get through or process a little bit more of that pain, you're a little bit lighter and your body's a little bit lighter. And you start to realize that you don't need to numb. Like, I don't need to numb in order to live. And I feel like a lot of people, that's how they survive. They numb. Like, everyone is like, you see a lot. Our lives are addiction now today. Like, it's, phones, it's whatever we have instant access to anything we possibly want now. And so most of the people on the planet now are addicted. Like, I took my kid's phone away and it was like a crack addict. Like they're under the door and their hands are like, Mom, please give me my phone. Like, I can't live without it. Like,
Yeah.
So you're like, man, that reminds me of like when I used to do drugs.
Well, yeah. I mean, the world's going to stop spinning.
Yeah.
Because
we're so afraid to be with ourselves. We're so afraid to be with ourselves and to find real connection. We're all seeking this level of connection that it doesn't exist in what we're looking for. And if I were to be asked, like, I speak to junior high students and it's like, what ultimately led to addiction and was connection. It's what I thought was connection. It's what I used to feel connected. And really, it was the most disconnected I could have ever imagined I would be in my life. It was the furthest away from myself, from people. I didn't have relationships. I had needs.
20 minutes was a long-term relationship at times,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I was a runner. I've always been.
Yeah.
And so the running and the numb, and like I said, I don't discount doing the work, but you do sometimes and quite often have to do more. You've got to dig
Yeah.
deeper because there are holes. It's not going to fix every situation in your life
No.
because a lot of things that happened to us that we witnessed are deep, deep and dark
Yep.
stuff
Yep.
that you can't just go and talk to someone at the mount and burn the paper and the guy
No.
slaps you on the forehead.
Yeah.
You're
No.
healed.
Like
There you
I'm all
go,
for
like-
step 4, but sometimes the step 4 wakes up a whole lot of sleeping demons that you've never even thought about looking at. And suddenly you're like, oh my God, like there is so much here to unpack.
And I don't think I was taught it properly. And I don't think a lot of people teach it properly, and I'll tell you why.
I would agree.
Because, like, I've got an HVAC business. And I would say openly, and people may attack me for it, but it's true. They're always saying, well, after 6 months, you should sponsor, you got to give it away. What do you don't have anything to give at that point. I don't take someone that's got 6 months experience and point them to the job and say, here's a guy that just started the first day. You guys go take him and figure it out. No, you take the guy that's got 10 years experience, and then you put him with the guy that's been here probably for the 6 months and go and figure that out. The guys that's been here the first day probably going to ride with me and do paperwork. You know what I mean?
Well, and the thing is too, like you can't give away what you don't have.
That's right.
And I truly believe that there is a beautiful side to the program of giving back, but it's giving back where you're at. And that might be like in my day, it was making coffee and dumping ashtrays, so, because we could smoke in meetings. But
did you smoke?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did, yeah.
That's shocking.
As soon as I was allowed to smoke, I started smoking. You through and through, I know I'm an addict. Like people are like, how, like, you were so young. How would you know that you're an addict? And it's like, well, let's see. As soon as I was allowed to smoke, the very first thing I did was run out and buy a pack of smokes. And I think I smoked the whole pack within less than 24 hours. Like I downed those as fast as I could.
Wow.
As soon as we were allowed coffee, because they take everything away when you first go into treatment, right? And then you slowly get things back. As soon as I was allowed coffee, it was like they told you were allowed 1 cup of coffee. So like I brought the biggest cup you possibly could imagine. And I drank that coffee. Like it was like, there was no way. And then like, even when I look at my life today, like it's like, like I had to have surgery and they gave me like a really heavy pill. And so but I hid the pill. And in my brain, I was like, just in case I might need it later on in life. Like, you get a headache. Like, who does that?
Nope.
Not a normal person. No,
you
most
were
people
supposed to take it before the surgery.
After surgery for pain. And then, but it's like it's a painkiller.
Yeah.
Like an opioid.
So you figured that you're going to
my brain was like, I'll just hide it. And then, you find it like 6 years later and you're like, what are these doing here? And then you're like, oh, right. Like, you're an addict. Like whether you want to admit it or not, you are an addict.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it like it's hard for me to picture you smoking because
yeah, I'm
you're
so healthy now.
Conscious.
Yeah. Well, when I got pregnant, I was only 23 with my daughter. She's going to be 20 tomorrow. And yeah. And I decided that I was going to quit smoking when I was pregnant. And I didn't want to quit smoking because I was pregnant. I wanted to quit smoking because I knew it was the right thing to do. And so I smoked until I was 5 months pregnant, and then it made me like just disgusted. Like all of a sudden I was just like, this is repulsive. Why am I doing this? And I quit and I never smoked again after that.
Wow. I quit 8 years ago, June.
That's incredible because it's not an easy thing to quit.
It took me 10 years, and if I'm going to share something, just how wicked that addiction is. I don't know why, but I kind of do know why. I wanted to see. So about a month ago, I just like a friend was having a cigarette, and I said to her, I just want to take a haul. Not going to start. Just want to see. Would I hack? Would I cough? Would I turn blue or puke or what?
Yeah.
None of that happened.
Of course not.
And it took me right back, and I went, oh my God. And if I had probably even a half, I would have been down at the store buying a pack. And I thought, wow, how wicked that is that after 8 years, just like one puff and and it's like, ooh, so smooth. And, I have to admit that I thought about it for probably about a month later, and I thought, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it. And I didn't do it. And I'm so glad. But there's so much comfort in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's the devil saying, come on back.
Yeah, it is.
We miss you.
Yeah.
You know you want it.
Yeah.
And I do believe there's an energy.
Yeah.
There's what I call the lower power energy. And it will grab you and take you places you never wanted to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess we're out of time for this one, but then we're going to get you coming back for the next week.
All right.
Well, thanks. That was an awesome. Okay. Well, we'll catch up with you later. We hope everybody has another good 24. Take care.